So just to get us started, can you provide us a bit of background about yourself?
Sure, yeah. So I'm Rob McMorran. I'm a researcher, a social researcher in RESAS in the Scottish Government, which is part of the government that basically looks after research, evidence, and analysis relating to sort of rural and environmental areas of interest to policy. And I've been there for about a year and a half, going on 2 years now, I think. And prior to that, I was a researcher in Scotland's Rural College, working mainly in the areas of sort of land use behaviours and rural development.
How can researchers effectively establish feedback mechanisms with policy professionals to ensure that their work is continuously relevant and impactful?
Yeah, so I think a lot of what I said probably kind of relates to that, and um, there's different mechanisms for that. There is the kind of, and certainly some of the people that I worked with in SRUC at the time had long-term relationships with policy professionals in Scottish government, and as a result of that, they had a kind of an ongoing dialogue. So there's that kind of ongoing dialogue, but not everyone can achieve that kind of in the short term, I suppose. But it is, like I said, about having that network, about staying in touch with people. Some of that is about going to, the right sort of events as well, and putting yourself out there, being seen publicly, and taking the opportunities, like I said previously, taking the opportunities when they arise. If you do get asked to do something in government, or you get asked to speak, or you get asked to go to a meeting, try and use that to the best of your ability to sort of, just to get yourself seen and take the opportunity to make your work visible, but also to kind of build, awareness of who you are, what you're doing, why it's relevant. There are more kind of, I suppose, formal aspects as well, but um, you know, but it really depends on the kind of specific sort of examples of work that you may be doing, and how long the project is. For longer projects, it's probably easier. Well, to build a relationship through a 2 or 3 year project, because you might have an ESRC project or a NERD project or whatever, and it's 3 years long or something. And so you'll have meetings throughout that. You might have someone from Scottish Government or DEFRA or wherever coming to some of those meetings throughout that. So you can kind of use that formalized process of meetings and engagement and workshops and all the rest of it. For shorter projects that happen on and off, you get an intense little burst, but then it's about staying in touch after that, and just staying in touch with those people, keeping those contacts, and trying to kind of use them down the line. I suppose kind of trying to consolidate your, research. They'll always say, like, pick an area and kind of try to become a bit of an expert in that area. And I think that relates to the policy aspect as much as it does to the academic outputs, in that you've then got your network, and your network might change and it might evolve a bit, and you move into other areas of research, but it's really just expanding your network, because you kind of tend to come back to some of these other things. So I don't know if that quite answers the question in a kind of, perfectly, this is how you do it way, but it's like, to go back to where I started, the collaborative aspects, embedding people in the work from the outset, and staying in touch with people, is important. Even on an informal level, I think it's important to just, if you see people, and if you haven't seen them for a few years, but you think, oh, I'll probably be doing a project next year, it's thinking ahead as well. It's just maintaining those relationships, and they are part of your network, and you probably, people enjoy their relationships and you get a different perspective. It's like researchers, you get one perspective, but with policy, I think you do get a different perspective. And I think being in government for the last year and a half, nearly 2 years now, it certainly changed my perspective a bit on research, I suppose, and the kind of the utility of it, the kind of the functionality of it, and why it's being done. And just asking yourself, well, why am I doing this? What is the relevance? And these aspects are really important, because you'll then find you're more aligned with policymakers as a result of that.